the map. Ah, nice. Where?
I found
Oh,
radial symmetry grass flowers outside. I don't know if you can see.
nice. Love it. So you had time to go outside.
Yeah, I just went outside in the gallery and
Good
like
for you.
5 seconds.
Welcome, everyone. The session is recorded, so other teachers, other participants could watch it after. I would say afterward. We still have 6-7 minutes before we start. So if you have time, if you wish, you could go outside and find Matt. You have an example of a teacher in Quebec, so it's in French, but I guess Matt doesn't have a language, right? Matt is the same any language. So, and you can share in the discussion. So what could you teach outdoor? What kind of math? Maths are everywhere outdoor. Oh, yeah, thanks, Alicia. Size and scale. Mm-hmm. If you just joined us, please feel free to share where we can see math, how we can use nature to teach math. You can share in the public discussion. You still have time to go outside if you want to bring a picture of your outdoor math. I looked at the trees. Are the branches symmetrical? Yes. Are there some trees that are and some that are not? Some branches that are and others that are not? You're right.
And even angles. We've heard of looking at angles with branches. That'd be great.
And the branches, oh yeah, and on the tree, a teacher said that yesterday. Right triangles by finding various sticks. Yes. You will notice I'm really French, like my expression comes, the we comes before yes, but teach about Pythagorean theorem through discovery. Yes.
Love it.
There's a lot of regularities in nature, right? Also, and yeah.
Bird signs.
Hmm?
The shinies wheels.
Yes, they are. We chose to step outside for the presentations. We did the French presentation outside yesterday, and the soothing of just being outdoors, it's completely different. All right, we were so calm yesterday, and
Yeah, we'll be today.
oui, c'est beau. We will start in a few minutes. If you just joined us, take the time. You can feel free to write in the discussion. We're talking about how we can teach math outdoors. So if you have ideas, if you experience teaching math outdoor, feel free to add to the conversation. We will start in what, 4 minutes?
A few minutes.
A few minutes.
And we do have dogs outside, so it adds to the music.
'94. We're almost 100. We reached 100. It's one. We will give 2 minutes for everyone to join. Feel free to add to the discussion. So we're talking about how we can teach math outside. So where do we see math when we're outdoor? We had teachers sharing radial symmetry, geometric shapes. We talked about size and scale, using the trees, talking about symmetrical view of the trees. We talked about angles of the branches on the trees, creating triangles. Yes, lots of patterning opportunities. My daughter is in kindergarten. You're right. There's a lot. Measurement. Comment on dit?
Natural.
Non, c'est quand tu n'utilises pas les mètres, les centimètres. Unconventional.
Unconventional measurement.
A lot of unconventional measurement possibilities.
Even relating to the birds singing, like short and long notes that are used, and that's interesting as well. Oh. Area and perimeter.
Lucy shared a complete activity. Using shadows to estimate heights. Oh, that's a good one.
Yes.
Graphing and data collection. Statistics, yes.
Love it.
I feel I will do that a lot today.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I love your idea. Maybe a bit advanced, but activities based on sound. You can start young with sounds and teaching music.
Yes.
Love the bird calls. Yes.
Yeah.
You're right. Melodic direction. Lucy, scavenger hunts are always a hit. It's a great start to discovering outdoor. That can lead to a lot of outdoor activities.
And using literacy and numeracy. So this is great.
Using the North Star and the Big Dipper to tell time.
Oh, love it.
Yes, and we saw with one of Jacob's Maker Fun. Well, it was his idea, but I don't know, the constellation we made of Maker Fun on that, and you can. It's a start. You just need to to pick curiosity of a child, and then it opens to a world of discovery
and possibilities.
Yes. Do we start?
Yes, let's do it.
Okay. Alicia says yes. My name is Michelle. I'm the Natural Makerspace program specialist at Brilliant Labs, and I have my colleague with me today.
My name is Kathleen Rice, and I'm a program specialist here with Brilliant Labs.
So we will go through the presentation, but please feel free. I was listening or watching the French presentation we made yesterday, and everything you share on the discussion, it's recorded. So the presentation is recorded, but it's for the benefit of all teachers. So the teachers who can't be here for the presentation, they will be able to access to that presentation afterwards. So feel free to share. We don't know everything. We are here to share our experiences and what we know, but feel free to share what you know and your experiences also.
So we can learn as well.
Yes. Okay. So learning outside at school and remotely. Right now we had the green light from the department that we will be at school in September for elementary grades. High school, we need to have an alternative of learning. So it's still possible to learn outside remotely. We'll see options. So why? First, we need to know why. What facts you might want to consider to teach outside. How to get started. Organization, that's a big one. Teachers would say, yeah, I see why I should teach outside, but how do I start? We'll talk about that. Where? So what is the location? What is the best natural makerspace? Where is your the lane you will use to teach outdoor? We'll talk about resources and how to use them. So Brilliant Labs have built hundreds of great challenges or great pedagogical activities that they are all online, ready to use. And we will end with a question, discussion, ideas. Although you can always write in the discussion if you have something to say.
Sounds good.
Sounds good, huh? Mm-hmm. Kathleen is here. If you know what, I might sometimes I can't find the right words, but yeah.
Collaboration.
We work well together. So why consider teaching outdoor? I have the picture I have here is Marie-Ève and Anne. They are teachers, kindergarten teachers in Quebec, and they had to start back teaching after the pandemic a few weeks ago, and they chose to bring their 5-year-olds on public space 2 kilometers from the school. So every morning they walk with their 5-year-olds, and they have those strings with noodles, 1 meter noodles between them, so they can easily keep distanciation. And they go to that site, and they stay that day. They go to the bathroom before and after, and they use whatever they can use there if it's needed there. They say, and it's obvious, that physical distancing is facilitated and optimized outdoor. So Kathleen, you showed the technique yesterday. Can you show the technique? They are showing when the kids, because they are 5-year-olds, so they are discovering and everything, and sometimes they just get too close, and they're not supposed to. So they just shout abracadabra, and the kids say bra, which is arms, and they turn around. So for sure, if you can turn around with your arms open, you're 1 meter away from other friends. So that's a great technique. It's fun for kids. They bring back to the task, and we assure that they are not too close to other friends, which can happen. Outdoor infection control is easier. It's easier to control. The viruses disperses more quickly in nature. There's the UV, the sun UV effect also. So those are factors to consider. This one I really like because it's not what it will. For now, it's not the reality we're expecting for September, but it could be. Right now, we will not have to do distanciation inside a classroom, but we never know. It could happen. So those are the two options. We have the option that we have to do the distanciation inside the classroom or outdoor. The benefits of being outdoors were there before the pandemic. So building an emotional connection to the land is the most important factor to consider for myself and for any nature like outdoor educator. We're talking about reconciliations. We're talking about saving the world. We want kids to save the world. We know they will. So, but the first step, as much for the adult than that for the students, is to build an emotional connection. You need to be outside. You need to feel with your 5 senses. You need to spend time outdoor to know your surrounding, and then you know why you want to act on it, right? It's proven that it enhances physical well-being, including reduced rate of diabetes, heart disease, and other chronic diseases. Enhanced mental well-being, which is really important right now. It will be in September, including reduced level of anxiety and depression. Just being outdoor has that effect. The Child in Nature Alliance made research. Children are more engaged in learning. 88% of them are better able to concentrate, 68%, and are better behaved outdoor. And I can hear teachers, like, maybe I hear what you think. If you tried once and you're like, yeah, no, they're not better behaved outdoor, for sure, because if kids are not used to learn outdoor, when they go outdoor, it's for recess. So it's a culture to build inside your classroom. It could be only inside your classroom. It could be even, there would be even a better effect in a school. So it could be a school culture. But when kids understand that the outdoor is their classroom, it makes a world of difference. At the end, the presentation will be available to you. I will share a link after the presentation, and you will be able to access all the links. For example, at the end, we're talking about the experience in Scotland. Demonstrate that there are not many things you can't teach outdoors. You just have to think creatively. So Scotland took that avenue when they get back to after pandemic, when they get back to school. There's a lot of countries that are using the outdoor as a pedagogical environment. So Finland, what the teach. Well, go ahead. Sorry. Go ahead.
Not sure where she was going with it, but I'm sure it's good. Take your time.
I love how authentic this is. Keep it up.
Oh, I can't hear you, Jacob. Sorry.
Oh, never mind. Okay.
Weather could be a problem. Ah, I like it. Okay, we'll talk about weather later. You're right. Okay, our example, like the school we visited last April was in BC, and they are the only 100% outdoor school in the public system. But you're right, like they don't have the minus 35 that we have here. So we need to adjust to that, but there are solutions. And yeah, when we're talking about resilience, you have to build resilience. But it's a good point. Estimate the distance from. I've shared the Child and Nature Alliance link. You will have it after, because talking about researches and everything in Canada, they have they are the leaders when we talk about researches in outdoor education. So they were mainly the website is mainly in English, but now they start to include French articles and French researches also. Okay, how to get started. We are sitting on our bucket seat right now outdoor. There's a lot of ways, like you will have your ways to get organized, but there's a little. The bucket is so simple. It might be too simple. Jacob thought of the bucket 3 years ago. When we talked about the bucket, he was like, yeah, I thought about that 3 years ago. Yeah. A teacher from Grand Fall talked to me about the buckets a year ago, I would say, and since then I can't live without it. So those are buckets that restaurants and cafeterias and market, they receive food. So they receive sauce, margarine, or potato salads and those, and then they throw them away. So if you reach your local restaurants, you can have those buckets for free. And those are great storage. I call them portable outdoor classrooms. So if every child has his or her bucket, they put their tools in it. So their exploration or journal, their notebook, some pencils, some markers, some tools, scissors. They can bring it anywhere. So you don't want to overfill them for 5, 6, 7 years old. Like they need to be able to carry it. They can carry it to any side. And then they just sit on it. You sit on that. It's pretty comfortable. We're sitting on buckets since yesterday. Yes, and we're older than 10. It's a whiteboard. So if you have an erasable marker in your bucket, you can just write directly on your bucket and erase it. So it's, for me, it's the easiest and the most effective outdoor classroom. So that's something you might want to look in. So all students have their own buckets with tools and material they need. The findings are recorded in the journal. So for kids, having a journal with no topics on it, just a journal, they can write, they can draw, it could be they say
lined sheet
or recycled, like the sheet, recycled paper, like agrafé. Yeah, stapled together. It could be that, and kids just they draw the cover and then they can write anything. It's really it's surprising how kids who would never write, when you ask them to write something really specific, they would not, or they would say, I don't know where to write. But when they're outdoor, and I don't know, you just ask the question, like, what if you would be that butterfly? See that butterfly? Like, what his life looks like how, and they just start. They they might just draw, or they might start to write some words, or it's amazing. There's no official purpose, but our purpose is for them to draw and to write and to express themselves,
And to
right?
collect their experiences.
Yeah,
And to learn, for sure.
for sure.
The bucket can also contain their lunches or their snacks, or it's a portable backpack, yeah, that you can sit on, which is actually very comfortable, as Michelle said.
Have I said? I write someone write. I love the bucket idea, Madame Nathalie. So I know Jacob. When I talked about it with Jacob, he said, "Yeah, I thought about that." So Jacob had the idea, but for myself, it's Madame Nathalie in Grand Fall that gave me that idea, and then we talked about it. And other teachers are doing it. Like it's not. Yeah, teachers start to collect buckets everywhere. Alicia and Jacob, if you see, I'm not reading everything. Okay,
I can do that as well.
thank you.
Yes, you could stack them. That would be one way of storing them. That would be a great way, actually, because if they're all similar, they can be easily stacked.
One of the
Yes.
thank you for sharing the bucket. One of my favorite memories about exploring the brilliant, as it was called, but this is a universal, common universal design element in contemporary class around. You're seeing it in
You can't really hear.
size to pull up around a file. And I remember hearing from a school architect. Of course, there are very expensive versions of the same, these little ottomans that are purchased that are upholstered, but you can store anything in an upholstered ottoman. And so we were thinking of, it's great to bring them around that theoretical campfire in your classroom or wherever for a learning environment may be. And of course, it's inspired from the outdoors. While I listen to you present, I keep thinking about how elements of natural making, there's no barrier between indoor and outdoor making. It's entangled, and that idea of sitting in the bucket around a fire, it's pretty special. So for sharing that.
Hey, Jacob, I think your mic is, or maybe you're far from your mic and it kind of glitches a little bit because we get part of what you're saying and it really is interesting. We're missing a little bit of what you're sharing.
We got the essence. Yeah.
I wanted to say the bucket idea is great. So I lived in Boston for some time, and there was can you hear me? There was an initiative called Bucket Percussions, and Kathleen mentioned about the sounds and natures, and that reminded me, you can get some sticks and sit and do like a drum circle with nature sounds with the buckets too. So it's great that tool can do a lot of things.
There's a music teacher in Clare that we talked about the bucket, and she was trying to find an idea for her students to keep doing music at home, and she was like, well, the bucket with 2 sticks in it, you can sing and drum, and that's music. So
there's lots of potential to that bucket.
Yeah,
great idea.
We will go to the next diapositive, but diapositive, can we share
slides?
The next slides, but what would you put in your students' bucket? So if you have ideas, like we're talking about the bucket, and if you're excited about the bucket and you know what you would put in the bucket, like please share it, because we're always excited to see what other people how other teachers would use it.
And they're inspiring ideas. So this is how we're going to build, that capacity of teaching outside in September using these buckets.
Yeah. Okay, how to get started? You don't need to be an outdoor expert to get started. Download apps on your phone or tablet. So that's my phone with my daughter in the background, but those are the applications I'm using outdoor. There's thousands of applications, from identification of plants, of trees, of mushrooms. That's really interesting. From how to make knots. Those are all free. So making knots outdoor with kids, it's really interesting, and they get into it. There's Compass, and Boussole, and Compass. To observe the sky. There's exploration, like online exploration journal. So here we have the Google Science. So for older kids, they could record any stats they find outside, everything. And Nature Cat, which is for younger kids, but they can take pictures and share those with their teachers. And it's just keeping the fun in the outdoor, and also to take back some stress on the teachers who were used to know everything before we get in a situation. But outdoor, well, I have like grandpas that they know everything. Like you can
A
ask,
lot of things.
well, a lot of things, pretty much everything. But we're not there. I'm not there. I'm learning every time I'm going in nature with students. But that's the fun of it. Like students can teach their teachers at some point, and we have tablets. We can access that anywhere. So, and that's a great tool, right?
You don't have to be like know all of it to start going outside. Like just use the app.
What kind of setup do you need at school? Okay, I wanted to talk to you about Maple Ridge Environmental School in British Columbia, which is the only public 100% outdoor. They don't have a building. And this picture shows the site they were exploring for a little bit more than a month. So for a month, they were on that site. Every year they're going on that site. And the only shelters they have are those roofs that the kids are putting up and down every day. So they used to do it. They get to school, they put the roofs up, and they bring them down after school. They have portable toilets. They harvest water. So I've put we had a, a challenge harvesting water. There's no water there, so they bring water, or they harvest water so they can wash hands, wash dishes. They can drink while they're bringing their water they want to drink. And that's a school. So for the past 9 years, they're going to that site every year, and that's their setting. So basically what I wanted to sharing that picture is we could have a really great outdoor classroom, like made in woods, and it looks good if it can motivate some teachers to go outside. That's great. But that classroom you can't bring anywhere, so it's fixed. It's on your school ground. Although you can explore, there's like with younger kids, you can maybe walk 1 kilometer, with older, maybe 5, to explore other sites. So we will get back to Maple Ridge, but I wanted to share. Do you want to share some?
Well, I find interesting. I was laughing when I saw, like, Cynthia sharing that you've used buckets for math, and some of the other kids were like greedy kids would collect big rocks in their buckets. So I kind of made me laugh, but it's true. You try not to laugh, but there are so many of you for sure that have been using buckets, but for us sharing here it's an option for a classroom. It's kind of neat to say that you can actually tomorrow choose to kind of bring your class outside, and it's a way of having chairs for everyone, and ways of bringing the material that we need outside so that the kids are empowered doing it. And anyways, it's a great option to consider.
we will get back to this slide, but I would like to share with you, we published a guide, Brilliant Lab published a guide, Find Your Natural Makerspace, earlier a few months ago. And I wanted to share it with you because it's really 4 simple steps. And we can get back to the presentation. I will share my screen with you. You can hear my wonderful dog in the meantime. So here, Alicia, if something goes wrong, if you can't hear, please let us know. He'll go. C'est correct. So step 1, make a plan. So take a walk around the neighborhood or use Google Maps to make a map of the spaces that are within walking distance of your house or school. We made it for when we were at home. Identify safe, accessible spaces that you could possibly use with permission. Woods, parks, fields, beach. That's, excuse me. Kathleen will go. Kathleen to the rescue. Each space has something unique to share. So with Google Maps, like depending of your student's age, go as far as 3-4 kilometers. I don't know. It depends how comfortable you are to walk or bike with your students, and draw a circle around spaces that might be interesting. Step 2 is to explore. As a teacher, explore each of the places to identify and note all the advantages, disadvantages, and sources of danger. If hazards are identified and beyond your control, you can eliminate this option. If not, make a plan of the natural elements found there, the different possibilities of creation and learning. So each space will have something to teach kids and yourself. Step 3 would be arrange. So we talked about the bucket. When you have identified interesting and safe sites, start thinking about what you would need to spend the day there with your students. It could simply be a matter of moving natural elements already there or transporting equipment on a regular basis. So maybe there's stumps of wood there. You can just like rearrange and sit on those. Use what's there first, and then you know what you have to bring with you. Maybe it's a site where there's washrooms there already, so we're set up with washrooms. So no need to set up permanent structures. A bucket can be used as a bench, table, whiteboard, as well as to transport equipment. Be creative, and above all, remember that this space is first of all the home of diverse living species. So we want to respect that as well. We don't want to take everything away. Step 4 is to enjoy. So plan your first visit to the site. You have explored it, and you surely already have great activities to offer to your students, children. We like to plan everything, and it's amazing because we are great I do the same. We all do the same. But keep in mind, however, that they will discover the site with their own eyes. So don't be disappointed if your plans don't work. The most beautiful discoveries are rarely planned. Take advantage of every moment of learning offered by your natural space. Use an electronic portfolio or exploration journal to record your students' learning. So you have access to this guide. The link is here, and I will share the PowerPoint with you after. Round trip or boat way? There's a conversation between Cynthia and Lisa, and I will let you have that conversation. So basically you need a roof, access to toilet, and water and soap. For the day, that's what you need, and you bring your tools with you. I have put the image of a tarp with a string, so that's a great option too. Like, put up your own roof. Kids are so amazed when they're going somewhere, and yeah, it was supposed to be nice weather, and oh my God, it's starting to rain, or it's starting to, and they put up their own roof. For sure, you will not have the time to do everything you had planned that day, but that experience of problem solving, of cooperation, that you can't reproduce. Even if we want to reproduce that, impossible.
It's authentic.
Yes. So if you want to learn more about the only 100% outdoor public school in Canada, I will share also the links. There's a great documentary that's called Found in the Forest. It's 2 hours. It's from when they started 9 years ago. It's a kindergarten to grade 9 school right now. They are growing to get to grade 12. When they started 9 years ago, a parent who worked with CBC made that documentary. It's really nice. When we it's the first step. You want to.
It's interesting to see the father's view of his school and the choices he made for his son when he started kindergarten, you know, whether going to a traditional school or choosing the one in nature. So we have the voice of a dad, and we see the child growing up. And Michelle and I actually met this young man last April when we were visiting the Maple Ridge School in British Columbia. So a great person, great learner. But the video or the movie is definitely something to take time to watch. And it's inspiring, and it gives a lot of ideas and the reasons why maybe learning outside is accessible, convenient, but also very beneficial for wellness and yeah, for future citizens of this of our country.
I really like what I haven't had the chance to read everything, but Cynthia, you said like when the kids come back, they share and they're the experts. That's so valuable. Those are often the comments we have from teachers, that the kids who are not valued, but who can't show how their ability, their skills indoor, those are the kids who will be the experts, or who would teach others outdoors. So that's a great reason to step outside once a week or whenever you feel comfortable to do it. I've also put a link. Kathleen and I had the chance to visit that school in BC last year. We spent a week there, and we made a short video, 5-6 minutes, of how a week, how does it work, how a week of school there works. So it can be really interesting too. So if we would have to teach remotely, what kind of setup do you need? So actually the only advice I could give you is to make sure you are aware of the outdoor spaces available to each of your students at home, because no spaces are too small to discover. All they need is their tools and their buckets and guidance from you. We will share, hopefully you already know the resources on the Maker Fun resources from Brilliant Lab, but if you don't, those resources themselves are great to monitor, or I don't know how to say, to guide your students who are learning at home. I'm also sharing the link of the Brilliant Labs Maker Fun. A team of Brilliant Labs actually make episodes on Rogers TV, and they are also on YouTube. And the episode 10, who are not there yet but will be on Empathy, and it will show different outdoor spaces, from a forest to a field to a small backyard and a balcony, and I was in charge of the window. So if a child can only access, like, he can't step outside in a regular basis, how can he discover his surrounding? And once a child has that set of mind, or when a child is interested in outdoor, just watching from the window there's so many things they can get back with. So that's a
Keep that in mind.
we
yeah,
have to
for
keep
young
that in
adults.
mind. In New Brunswick, we're really lucky to have those big spaces. A lot of kids have access to at least a small backyard, but we have to take into consideration that some kids are in apartment, and if they're too young to go outside alone, well, they are inside. So
There's also a question about the district or school board permissions and safety concerns. And what we've seen throughout like the past few years are documents that are signed, developed by teachers at the start of the year, and actually outline the spaces that will be visited by the classes and signed by parents. So there's a consentment like to start the year with those different spaces that will be explored by kids. So those are ways that teachers have used right now to have actually step out of their school and get on to different environments for learning and natural making.
merci. So we're getting to the BL, the Brilliant Lab resources and how to use them. So I have put the link here to get to the Maker Fun activities. There's hundreds. I don't know how many. I was asking yesterday. There's a lot. So there's some are indoor making, a lot of are outdoor. I will let Kathleen.
You're so funny.
Bye.
Well, thank you, Alicia, for sharing the link, because I've seen
Yeah.
that someone has asked for that the resource. There's so beautiful resources out there that have been published since March. Brilliantly designed, very creative, inspirational as well. But maybe to start with is that the whole process starts by the Sustainable Development Goals, like SDG, with a what if question in the morning. So every day of resources that were shared by Brilliant Labs since March always started with the SDG question, which was a great, profound question that would inspire and would guide and could lead to lots of very interesting discussions. And here we see the one about, it's very small, so it's using material that we have to build things.
Yes.
And we could see that these questions will inspire some kids, but they were also great inspirational discussions for adults. A lot of the teachers I've worked with in the past have come back to me saying, those were really great questions. And the day would start with the SDG questions that could lead to projects that the kids would think about even before we would send off our Maker Fun challenges. But we designed a process throughout a day that we would offer some suggestions of activities. But again, the whole design process could come back to students. After a question, they could come up with their own ideas. But that day we had we build with what we have. So that would lead on to creating an outdoor fun makerspace or fun activity or a playground that kids could use a material that they had at home. So knowing that during the COVID, the kids were not allowed to any playgrounds, how could kids do or create their own at home? We have a video that actually explains a little bit. Like every day we had videos that we kind of help or guide towards the Maker Fun activity. So we have a video that maybe we won't go through right away, but it's on this slide. But the activity itself is designed there, it's presented there, and has a quick description of what can be done. But again, kids could come up with their own ideas or creative way of doing so. So it's actually interesting because in behind where we're sitting, Michelle's
I'll show you.
own playground. She can show you.
Made with tires.
So there are material that were available to her for her daughter, and easily, well, not easily, there's effort put into it, but it's a great playing environment. So it shows that you can actually build things instead of buying things all the time, which I found at Brilliant Labs is something we value a lot. Why buy things when you can make them? So bring out that problem-solving approach and solution finding solutions. And if we look on that slide as well, we also have the design thinking process that we've talked about this morning on a coffee and discussion, and something available still that you can go see if you haven't been part of that discussion this morning, seeing how starting with ideas and the empathy part of it, and then bringing kids to find solutions to problem, innovate, actually create things and test them, and maybe come back to the whole process and see how they can improve or change their main idea. But it's bringing this this process in where creativity is part of learning, where the end product is probably not what's most important, but the process through it is like trial, error, and that's how we learn. So the design thinking is very, very strongly encouraged with Brilliant Labs, and I really do find that it's something we need to promote even more to make it accessible to teachers and see how we can use it with students. And then on this slide, we also see the whole teachable moments. So for every activity that was published by Brilliant Labs, there are also all the links to different curriculums that we can develop, where it's at music, arts, science, math, language arts, all of this, how it links to the main activity. What we haven't done is maybe identify the levels like K to 2 or 3 to 5. Those are things that we could address later on, but they do show the links of in like transdisciplinary approaches where we touch so many different fields in one activity. And for sure, they are engaging activities. They were as much fun to create for the team itself as for the kids that will be hoping anyways that will be taking part of these activities. And we can see as well, there's a link on this page that would bring you to students
This one.
that talk about what are SDGs. So as a teacher, as a teaching specialist for the district for so many years, I never really did explore the SDGs that much. These goals are so important.
Test.
But they're all calls for action that kids will want to make this world better, I guess. So this is kind of a resume of all the resources that are out there right now, and they're still in development. And we're always open to your suggestions and as well as needs for your teaching in September. Because we all know that you're starting now to get ready for September. So whatever we can help or guide or be there to foster, it would be great for us to do so.
Thanks. And that's one example. We had to choose one example. Who would have thought that building a playground, you can teach math and science and music, building a playground, and it might also still be a need when we get back to school. Like, do you have enough space for your kids for the kids to play outdoor? Well, if not, maybe involve the kids in the design of their own playground. We can talk after. That's what I love. I'm sharing a few other resources because they are available here in New Brunswick, and I feel we can all beneficiate from them. Great Minds Think Outside, which is a link to the New Brunswick Environmental Network. If you haven't had how do you say, a workshop with Great Minds Think Outside, it's just inspiring. So any teachers who had that training are just inspired. They just want to go outdoor more often. So it's great. The New Brunswick Council also have a web page with resources. I have put here that this is a page or a group. Actually, it's a sharing group that I'm working on for years. The Natural Makerspace sharing groups. There's almost 700 teachers on it, and that's on Facebook. But on social media, if you are looking for inspirations, or there's so many groups and so many people who are sometimes teachers would say, I feel alone, I'm the only one at school that wants to teach outside, and nobody understands what I'm trying to do. But there's so many teachers who are actually teaching outside and who would love to share, and social media are great for that. Nature Kids New Brunswick will have great activities. And I'm sharing also the Natural Curiosity, a second edition that was published by the University of Toronto. It's really a guide including Aboriginal knowledges and perspective. And for right now, the resource is free online. So it's really a great resource to, as a teacher, to have. The links are all in the, I will share to you the Google document, Google Drive document, and the links are all there if you click on the pictures. It was supposed to be 30 minutes, but we're done. So we will end with, what if we had the power to nurture the natural curiosity and creativity of a child throughout his or her schooling, throughout his or her life? So we all know those little 5-year-olds who are getting in kindergarten, they are naturally curious, they are naturally creative. How could we keep that? We want, society needs for us to keep that in our children. So any questions, discussions, idea? I have put the links here. Let's connect. So our Facebook page, on Twitter, and on you can reach to me directly. My email is there. Yeah.
The discussion group, like Makerspace sharing group.
I just tried to follow. You can't find it. Well, the link is there, but I can't share the link right away if you want. Tu peux continuer. Thanks. It's here. And I will share the link of the conversation, of the PowerPoint. Just give me a second. Copy link. So. We send our email addresses to you right here. I think we all have, if people registered, we have all that information, right? I needed water. Thank you for
Thank
being
you.
there.
Yes.
Thanks a lot. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, Lee. Great.
Thanks.
Wow. See.
I hope to see all of you back someday, like soon. I see all those names. I don't know them. I want to meet them now.
Yeah, and that future maker fairs is the whole maker fair, inside and out. So we all work together. Yeah, yeah. We'll make it happen. Love it. Keep them out of the landfill. Uh,
I
Beautiful.
also liked your thing on like things that are not permanent, not like things like structures that are not permanent. And I see this picture that you have children like assembling. So we are in Gatineau in Quebec, and there's a lot of natural things around. And I went out for a walk, and I found this kind of like a whole structure, size of a house, put up by children. With the same thing, you can come visit our fort. Feel free to hang out. And this I noticed like earlier in like before the spring, so it was kind of chilly. And as we went outside, it was kind of warm. And I was wondering whether they taught about like these insulation being property of wood, but also like doing something for others. And with the mind that, the structure is not permanent. It can disassemble anytime.
Beautiful. I like the whole new meaning to bucket list. Thank you.